at the Cardano Foundation, as Charles just said, we're trying to be thought leaders. And what does that mean, thought leaders? Thought leadership means to think further and think differently than the mainstream. The mainstream, everybody thinks. So we're trying to think a bit further. What does that mean with regard to interoperability? So I got my famous, I don't know if you see me, but I usually do this. They never fly very far, right? So I could play a game about what is interoperability. You know, and I would ask the audience, what does interoperability mean? Does it mean faster? And the audience would say yes. Does it mean everything works with everything? And the audience would say yes. So that's you. Would it mean no borders, no intermediaries? Yes, yes, and yes. Does it mean no sand between the cogswheels of the many blockchains? Again, yes. Yeah. But as you can tell, that's not what I'm about. The answer is yes, but it was the wrong question. The question is not just interoperability, how do we get there? But the question is, the underlying question is, what do we want? What is it that we're trying to achieve? And then also, what should we worry about? What should we worry about? And why are these questions not asked? Because we got the wrong people at these conferences. Okay, that doesn't mean you, it means me. Who we should have at these conferences, and I'm kind of piggybacking on earlier presentations I've had in Zug and in Hong Kong, is we should have more philosophers speaking. We should have economists. Rolf, invite some philosophers, please. We should have economists speaking, but not bankers, lawyers, and coders. That's what we have right now. We should have philosophers, because philosophers, they ask, why would I do such a thing? What is it that I want? Yeah. And we should have not the 10 people in a room. We should have, from Israel, we should have the 11th man in the room. What was the role of the 11th man? It was to be the devil's advocate and piss everybody off. That's the persons we need. That's why I don't get invited if I tell Rolf the reality. Yeah. So what does that mean here? Interoperability for you and for me means fluid, fast, easy to move, easy to influence, and it also means interdependency. It means everything is linked. Do we want that? Big question. Everybody in the room will say yes, and everybody in the room, including we at the Cardano Foundation and at IOHK, we're trying to link everything together. But what happens if you link everything together, fast, with no borders, no friction, in the financial system? 1997. What happened in 1997? It was rhetorical. The Asian financial crisis. What happened in the Asian financial crisis? There was a bit too much leverage, and then money that could flow did flow away very fast from a lot of different places. Which jurisdictions survived the Asian financial crisis? It was all the countries with capital controls. It was all the countries that did not open up. They survived. A year later, they were still there. All the countries that followed the World Bank and so on, all these big names have followed their advice and opened up the capital account, the current account. All these countries, they went down, and they went down for several years. What happened in 2008? Everything was linked. Everything worked with other pieces, and you could not really see through all the way. And when one domino stone fell, the United States, there's a lot of good books and documentaries about this, they had to jump in and do the one thing that they never have to do, which is to save everyone's ass outside of the law. Because everything was linked and everything happened very, very, very fast. Yeah. So the word that comes with interoperability is actually contagion. Contagion. You probably saw there's a movie, and you also saw the new virus that comes out of China. Less borders, more velocity means faster spreading of not just the right thing, but also the wrong things. Tricky business. What does that mean for us? And who is us? Us is the coders, the builders, the people in this room, you, who are trying to build protocols, platforms, bits and pieces, oracles, exchanges, wallets, and all of us are trying to make this work together. So all of us are in this. And what does it mean? It means that we need to think harder, because we need to ask the questions that we didn't ask. We have to ask the questions that we did not want to ask, because we need to think about features that today we consider bugs that are actually features. And we need to think about the bugs that we think are bugs, or we think about the features that are bugs and the bugs that are features, no? So it's the other way around. So we need to think 2 steps ahead. And that's not easy. That takes time. And that's what we need to do. Because unintended consequences is just a euphemism for what? For, oops, I didn't think about that. That's what unintended consequences means, no? Oops, we thought that would not be a problem. Yeah. So this is it.